שבת אנו גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אנו גם יחד. How good it is, how sweet it is, how good it is for us to be together. How good it is, how sweet it is, how good it is for us to be together. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אנו גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אנו גם יחד.
Shabbat Shalom and Chag Sameach. Happy holidays. It's not every year that Halloween falls on a Friday and that we get to come together for spooky Shabbat. I am so glad to be with you tonight as we unwind from our week and welcome the beautiful gift of Shabbat into our midst. For Halloween, I am Rabbi Noah Rocklov from Netflix's Nobody Wants This. But in real life, I'm Rabbi Jesse Epstein, and I'm joined on the bima tonight by Director of Jewish Experience Jacob Glickman and by our musical director, Chava Morel. We have our incredible tefillah band, Merle, Sean, and Doug here with us this evening. And I want to welcome you all into this space, whether you are here every week or whether it's your first time. Welcome. And welcome especially to the Meyerson family, and an early mazel tov to you, Mira. We're so excited for you to become bat mitzvah tomorrow, and we know that you're going to do amazing as you lead our community in prayer and share your incredible wisdom. And finally, let us welcome in everybody who is joining us virtually tonight. We can all turn around and wave to the camera in the back of the room, offering a big Shabbat Shalom on my count. Echad, shtaim, shalosh. Shabbat Shalom. And before we get started with our service, let's also turn to one another in the room and offer one another a Shabbat Shalom, introducing yourself perhaps to someone you haven't met before or seen in a while. Thank you.
So I gotta ask you what you think about that show. Maybe not. Thank you for your insights, Rabbi.
So many good conversations. I hate to interrupt, but we do have to move things along. Otherwise, we'll be here all night, folks. So first off, it's just so good to have everyone here, you know, and especially on a night like tonight. It's good to be able to bundle up with community and just sing and be together with such beautiful music and such a beautiful space that I know is so important to so many people here. And this week's Torah portion, Lech Lecha, is a really important one for our people. It's the portion where God initially reaches out and creates the covenant. That is the root, the taproot of this entire thing. Everything we know in Judaism comes from this initial promise that was made between Abram and Abraham, depending on where in the portion we're at, and God. And it began with God beckoning Abraham, beckoning him out. He said, Lech Lecha, go forth. Go from your father's house to the land that I will show you. And there's so many ways we can look at this text, but the rabbis like to teach that this phrase Lech Lecha is not actually always go forth or go out, but also is an invitation to go inward, to go inside, to go into that place in your heart, and that the land that will show you is not actually a physical place, but a spiritual way of being, a new way of living in the world, a new way of experiencing Shekhinah, Malchut, the physical world around. And we get to actually practice that each and every week when we enter Shabbat. That we get to step into a special place that's different than the week that we just have come out of. That we get to really dwell in the beauty of our lives, recenter on the things that we have in our lives to be grateful for, and connect to ourselves, to God, and to the people sitting around us. And so, as I like to do, we're going to take a moment just to separate ourselves, to create a little hamav deal, a little separation between ourselves in this space and the rest of the week. And so I'm going to invite you all to close your eyes for just a moment. And we're just going to begin with a nice deep breath in, a nice weekend arrival breath. And feel free to let out a sigh of relief that we finally made it. We're going to do that 2 more times, just breathing in nice and deep, really filling your lungs. Yeah, feel free to make some sound on the exhale. It really does help, trust me. 1 more time. Yeah, there it is, folks. You can really just allow yourself to really feel your feet connected deeply to the earth, feeling the cord extended down into the center of the earth, and feeling ourselves seated firmly in the seat, feeling the seat behind us, and even the texture of our clothes and our skin. And really taking a second to center into your heart space and breathe into that center point, feeling in that place of stillness, that place of rest, that place deep within your heart that knows where love comes from, that place deep within love emanates from. Just take a moment to breathe into that place, allowing relaxation to course through every cell of your body with each and every breath. Allowing all the gunk and the buildup from the week to just melt easily away. So just take a moment to reflect on the past week, all the joys and celebrations, all the highs, the excitement, and also the hardships, the tension, the fear, anxiety, everything in our life that we have to be grateful for. Think of a close, dear loved one, spouse, family member. Our homes, our bodies for working in the ways that they're meant to. And just for the precious gift of life that we get to benefit from each and every day. And my friends, it's from this place of gratitude that we shift our orientation. We go even deeper inside ourselves to find this place of Shabbat, to find this place of prayer, to find this place of wholeness. For these next 24 or 25 hours, a place we can dwell within, accompanied by God, accompanied by the people closest to us, where we can simply be. Rejuvenate, replenish, and nourish ourselves and our spirits. We begin that work tonight, together in this place and at this time. My prayer is that our time together is sacred and holy, for it is sacred and holy, this holy Shabbat. That we each get a little bit of what we came here for. A sense of connection, sense of belonging, and Me'ein Olam Haba, taste of the world to come. May this be a Shabbat of rest. May this be a Shabbat of joy. And may this be a Shabbat Shalom, a Shabbat of peace. Shabbat Shalom. So I'll take one more deep breath in together. It's my honor to invite up Charlotte and Wes to help us open up the Shabbat portal to step through together with the lighting of and the blessing over the Shabbat candles. We'll gather to light 3 times tonight, once for ourselves, once for our families, and once for the entire world.
Baruch atah Adonai,
Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Yasher Koach, thank you so much, Charlotte and Wes. So we light these candles, folks, as an externalized reminder of the sanctity of the space that we're in. There's a great saying that I love, which is that it's not a ceremony if there's not fire. And we can also remember that Shabbat itself is actually a reminder between us and God that if we do this thing called Shabbat, if we remind ourselves of our own holiness, then we too will be a blessing in the world as God promised Abraham would be. And so we sing those words, just the reminder of the reminder, Ki Eshmerah. The words will be on the screen, but we begin on page 11.
Ki eshmerah Shabbat el yishmereini. Ki eshmerah Shabbat el yishmereini. Oti leomead beino uveini. Oti leomead beino uveini. Ki eshmerah Shabbat el yishmereini. Ki eshmerah Shabbat el yishmereini. Oti leomead beino uveini. Oti leomead beino uveini.
I think it's not a hard argument to make that the masculine energy has been the one that has been dominating our society, and especially in Western culture, for the past 1,000 to 2,000 years. And so, but the Kabbalists, those who really have looked at the inner spiritual and energetic structure of Judaism, remind us that actually to really be in the divine presence requires us to remind ourselves to invite in the feminine. And so with the words of Lecha Dodi, which comes from the Middle Age, it comes from medieval Sfat. 500 years ago, these folks were saying we need to remember to invite in the feminine energy, the feminine presence for divine to counterbalance the masculine-driven world that we live in. And so we do that right now with the words of Lecha Dodi on page 20. The words will also be on the screen. And we will be doing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. And on the 9th verse, we'll rise and face and actually welcome in the Shekhinah, the Kala, the bride of our Shabbat wedding.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat v'kavela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Lecha Dodi likrat Shabbat chila. Lecha dodi, likrat kala. Meni Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala. Meni Shabbat nekabela. Hitoreri, kiva oreb kuli hori, uri shir daveri, kevod alai alai yichnikla. Lecha dodi likakala, meni Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likakala, meni Shabbat nekabela. Boi v'shalom ateret bala, gam b'simcha uv'tzola, toch emunei am segula, boi chala, boi chala. Lecha dodi likakala, meni Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likakala, meni Shabbat nekabela.
Beautiful. You may be seated. In addition to inviting in the feminine presence of the eternal, we also have the opportunity to invite in the angels, these divine messengers of God's light that we get to invite into our space just to help bring a little more shimmer to these Shabbat candles. And so please join me with Shalom Aleichem on page 24.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malchei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Limelech Malchei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Limelech Malchei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seidem Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Limelech Malchei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
On Halloween, choosing a costume is a big deal, especially for children, but I think for adults too. I mean, it only comes around once a year. It's a big decision. Do you decide to be a superhero? Dress yourself up in something that feels powerful? Or maybe a pirate, a seeker of treasure, a defender of the ship, a fierce leader? Or maybe you'll be something fun and relatable, a character from a sitcom, or you'll go classic, something that feels Halloween, a pumpkin, or a ghost, or a witch, perhaps. Maybe, if you've got a partner, you'll do a couple's costume or a family costume with your kids, showing off the close bonds that you cherish in the form of a Shrek and Fiona, or Mario, Peach, and Toad, or anything else that reminds those around you of how much fun you all have together. God wears different costumes too. Not just on Halloween, but every second of every day, God puts on whatever costume we need God to. Sometimes We need God to dress up like a powerful leader, sometimes like a gentle parent, sometimes like a protector, or a defender, or a doctor, or a teacher. On this day, on this Shabbat, this Halloween, what costume do you need God to put on? Let us consider as we rise as a community for the Baruch Hu on page 28. You may be seated. We turn the page to Ma'ariv Aravim, and we join together in the prayer on the top left of the page, page 31. Praise to you, Adonai our God, for whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv, Aravim. And we continue in the same manner on the next page, the bottom of page 33, with our Ahavat Olam selection. Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol. All these things your Torah gives to us, and the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works and the living language that gives it form? Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. As we turn to the Shema on the next page, I invite you to perhaps close your eyes and listen to the sacred words we chant together, words that command us to hear the sounds of the world around us, the sound of nature, the sounds of injustice and suffering, the sounds of joy and celebration, even the sounds of silence. Page 34 and 35, if it is your custom, you may rise.
Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu
may be seated, and I now have the privilege of inviting up our very soon-to-be Bat Mitzvah, Mira Meyerson, to lead us in the Via Hafta on page 36.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווה היום על לבביך ושמנתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיהם אני אדוני אלוהיהם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות להם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיהם.
Amen. Yasher Koach. Come back tomorrow for more, folks. It's going to be great, let me tell you. We're gonna do the reading together on the top of page 39. I think it's just the next page on. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before we ever stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together. I think it's so important that we maintain in our tradition this reminder that when things get tough, that's kind of what life's about, right? That life is about these moments of tension, but also with the trust and the knowledge and the hope of the eventual release. And the liberation from Egypt can be that reminder that regardless of whatever we're going through, whatever the world is going through, that we will find redemption one way or another, and we do that together. Baruch atah Adonai Ga'al Yisrael. Praise are you, Adonai, for redeeming Israel. Now turn to page 42 for the words of Hashkivenu. The English will be on the screen.
I just have a word to say about this prayer. Every night, and I don't know if everyone realizes this, but every night for 2 months, the entire summer, there is a whole group of kids who are singing this prayer of protection, and they say, spread the shelter. And I think they're singing it on behalf of all of us, because I personally don't say prayers every single day of the week, I'm sorry to admit, and I know that a lot of us don't. We might just say them on Shabbat, but at camp they say them every day. And so tonight, as a kind of a little bit of, to pay them back for all that beautiful blessing, let's send this blessing out to all those kids who are out there in the rain right now. The kids who have been blessing us all summer, let's bless them with the shelter of peace.
Once or twice in a lifetime, a person may choose a radical leaving, having heard the words Lech Lecha, go forth. God disturbs us towards our destiny by these hard events and by freedom's now urgent call, which explodes and confirms who we truly are. Sometimes we don't like to leave, but God likes to become. So my friends, I invite us to rise and turn to page 45 for the Amidah.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufiyagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your page 48. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim Ve'konei Hakol Ve'zocher Chasdei Avot Ve'imahot Umevi Geula Livnei V'neihem Lema'an Shemo Ve'ahava Melech Ozer Umoshia Umagen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai Mechayeh hakol atah Rav leHoshia Mashiv haruach umorid hagashem Mechalkel chayim bechesed Mechayeh hakol berachamim rabim Somech noflim verofeh cholim Umatir asurim Umekayem emunato Lishenei afar Michamocha Baal gevurot Umidol melach Melech memit umechayeh Umatzmiach Yeshua V'ne'eman atah l'hachayot hakol Baruch atah Adonai Mechayeh hakol Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh U'kadoshim b'chol yom yahalucha selah Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh.
We now take a moment for our own personal prayer. And while we often call this a silent prayer, the traditional way of understanding this is Tefillat Halev, the prayer of our heart. So I invite you to offer the prayer that is in the deepest recesses of your own heart space, whether that's for yourself or for other people in the world who might need a little extra blessing. This is your time to offer that for yourself.
Shalom Rav is on page 60. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adom lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adom lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov be'einecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
We now turn our attention outside of the space, bringing to hearts and mind our friends and neighbors who are struggling in life, whether it's illness of body, mind, or spirit, or just having a hard go of it. And so we actually, Kabbalistically, we can actually bring them into this space just by invoking their name. It brings enough of their energy and their neshama into our dwelling space, and to be able to bless them and send them, and for them to be able to receive the healing of this Mishaberach prayer. And so I invite you to invoke and bring their name into this space now, so that they can hopefully improve their standing in this world. Now turn to page 253 for words of Mishaberach.
Mishaberach Avoteinu Mekor habracha Leimoteinu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishaberach imo
there are so many in the world who are in need of our blessing and our prayer, and at the very least, our consideration. And so we wish them all refuah shlema, a speedy and quick and whole recovery.
So does anyone here know when the tradition of trick or treating began? No, a little bit, a little bit. Anyone want to throw around a year? Any guesses? 16th century, we heard. Okay. 1950. Okay, maybe American trick or treating. I mean, 16th century, Scotland, Ireland. There's some roots there. 15th century Christianity has some roots, but I have a different theory. Abraham. Yes, that Abraham. Forget about being the first Jew. My theory is that Abraham was the very first trick or treater. I mean, just look at the very first verse of this week's Torah portion. The very first time we meet Abraham, or Avram, as he was known then. Vayomer Adonai el Avram, lech lecha me'artzcha umimoladecha umibeit avicha el haaretz asher arecha. And God said to Avram, go outside, get out of your father's house and start wandering the streets. It's a loose translation. So Avram starts walking along with his wife Sarai and their nephew Lot. Sounds like a lovely trick-or-treating crew. And they wandered around following God's trail. Now, I know it doesn't yet look quite like trick-or-treating. It's more of a lovely family outing, but bear with me. Because a few more verses down, we come across this line. Vayehi ra'av ba'aretz, vayered Avram mitzrayma lagor sham, ki chaved hara'av ba'aretz. And there was a famine in the land which was so severe that they had to keep wandering, eventually making it all the way to Egypt. And in their search for some food, they didn't just walk up to the Egyptians and introduce themselves, but get this. Vayehi ka'asher hikriv lavo mitzrayim, when they were just about there, vayomer el Sarai ishto, he said to his wife Sarai, wait, we can't just show up. We got to wear a costume. The Egyptians might not be a fan of us as a couple showing up and asking for food, but if we act like siblings, they might take us in and have pity on us. Again, I'm paraphrasing, but it worked. It worked. Avram and Sarai put on their sibling costumes, a little odd. They marched into Egypt, and they were brought right up to Pharaoh's doorstep, where they rang the bell, and they said, trick or treat. That's right. You don't believe me? Open a Torah. It's right there. Okay, maybe they didn't say trick or treat, but the Torah didn't record everything, so maybe they did. We do know that they were brought to Pharaoh's palace and that Pharaoh had resources. You know the difference between those neighborhoods that give you a single Tootsie Roll, or worse yet, a pack of circus peanuts, versus those neighborhoods that show off by putting like an entire family-sized Twix bar into the kids' bowl? Well, Pharaoh was definitely in the latter group, but even more extreme. Avram walked away with quite a treat. Sheep, cattle, donkeys, camels, and more, even gold and silver. Lucky kid that would be. But Pharaoh wasn't in on the whole Halloween thing yet. After all, Avram just invented it. So when he found out that in return for the treat he offered, he was being tricked, that Avram and Sarai were not siblings, but in fact husband and wife, he was pissed. He assumed that Sarai was single and he wanted her to be his wife. And when he acted on that, God punished him. So Avram got his treat, Pharaoh got tricked, and I have to say, Sarai got a bit of both, walking away with Avram and those riches, but after being used in a bit of a monstrous way. And thus Halloween was born. Oh, and like any good trick-or-treating chaperone, at the end of this, Avram takes his nephew Lot and says, "Listen, buddy, these treats are not all for you. Time to pay the candy tax to your old man." I'm looking at you, Dad. I'm still wondering where all those Reese's Cups went each year as a kid. All joking aside, Avram and Sarai did not really think of themselves as trick-or-treating, but the modern American tradition of going out and strengthening community bonds, neighbors sharing special treats with each other's kids, does have resonance with some of our biblical values. And in fact, that's never been more true than it is this year. This year, as they do every year, folks went out of their way to go to the store and stock up on edible treats, not for themselves, but with the sole intention of giving them away to others. But this year, as candy is distributed nationwide on the last night of October, on Rosh Chodesh November, many families across the country have also been huddled in fear of what this coming month might hold. Those who receive SNAP benefits, 1 in 8 Americans, including 1 in 8 of Washington state residents, have been scrambling to figure out how they're going to feed their families and provide not just Halloween candy, but real nutrition in the wake of this government shutdown and an executive that has been holding hostage the emergency funding set aside for exactly this sort of national emergency. Parents don't know how they'll feed their kids next week, let alone Thanksgiving in 4 weeks. It took until this afternoon for families to get an inkling of hope. And that's only because a judge ordered the Trump administration to allocate its emergency funding to SNAP. But even with today's ruling, hope is dismal and likely temporary, based on what our nation's current judiciary patterns indicate. I know that I don't need to tell you how dire and desperate this situation is. You see it all over the news. But I do need to tell you what Judaism has to say on the issue. And boy, does it say a lot. In case it was unclear, food security is one of the most central themes of the Torah. For our ancient ancestors that first received the Torah, this made perfect sense. They were all farmers. Famine and drought were a big deal. Today, perhaps some of us feel a bit more removed from the agricultural cycle, but for many people, even today, the values of generosity and justice that the Torah command are very literally life-saving. In Genesis 41, we see Joseph serving as Pharaoh's right-hand man, storing up enough grain to be able to distribute as government aid during an upcoming famine. In Exodus 16, as our ancestors wandered through the desert, they relied on food assistance in the form of manna falling from the heavens every day other than Shabbat. And they were taught to expect consistent disbursement of the manna such that they should never worry about needing to save up some manna for the future, just in case. Coming to Leviticus 19, we are commanded to leave the edges of our fields unharvested, not pick our grapevines completely bare, to always make sure we are giving some of our food to those in need, to the poor, to the stranger. Numbers 11 illustrates a time when our own ancestors were starving in the desert and dreaming about all the delicious foods they used to eat before they entered the wilderness. And we see in this chapter what hunger does to a person, the emotion and behavior that come out of such desperation. And then finally in Deuteronomy 15, we are told, "There shall be no needy among you, since I, God, am giving you enough food to feed everyone. And it is your responsibility to open your hand and make sure everyone gets their share." And we know this is true. There is enough food. Food scarcity is a myth. We just do not do a good enough job of making sure that everyone gets enough. Every single book of Torah comes back to this theme time and time again. What I shared is only a snapshot. I mean, even our promised land is defined by nourishment, called in the Torah the land of milk and honey, milk for growth, honey for sustained sweetness that gets us through difficult times. And it's not just the Torah, this is the message of the prophets as well. As we read from Isaiah on Yom Kippur, what's happening right now, is why we fast. To remind us to act in times such as these. Later works, too, the Rambam teaches clearly that a person who leaves a dangerous obstacle in someone else's way and does not remove it not only misses the opportunity to perform a positive commandment, but also violates the negative commandment we see in Deuteronomy. Do not cause blood to be spilled. In other words, when people around us are suffering to such an extreme degree, and we have the power to do something about it, we must. The obstacle in the way here is the withholding of funds that are meant to put life-saving food on the tables of millions of Americans. One way to look at it is that it would be a mitzvah to get involved, that we fulfill the commandment to feed the hungry. And the Rambam agrees. But he says that is not enough, that yes, acting to help others fulfills that positive commandment, but not doing anything and just not getting involved is a violation of the Jewish law that is phrased in the negative. Do not passively let someone die from their suffering unnecessarily. It is anti-Jewish to sit idly by. It is anti-Jewish to do nothing. It's not only ideas like this that make me proud to be Jewish. Part of it is the ideas, but the thing that makes me really proud is the follow-through. What we do with these ideas. And at Temple Beth Am, we are doing a lot. We have been doing a lot. I am so proud of our incredible history of fighting against food injustice. For years, we have made meals for and supported Angeline's Kitchen, Teen Feed, and Mary's Place. And we were just named for the third year in a row the winner of the Jewish Family Service High Holy Day Food Drive. And I'm pretty sure we won it by a long shot. That is amazing. And unfortunately, it will not be enough. We can do even more. In the wake of our federal government's complete lack of empathy for those vulnerable, we must do more. And if we could afford to buy a few bags of candy for kids in the neighborhood, we can afford to distribute real food as well. So, how exactly can we help? Temple Beth Am is continuing to partner with JFS, which mobilized already a SNAP response fund to provide emergency grocery gift cards, and they need as much financial support as they can get. Or you can donate new clothes to our Winter Warmth Drive by ordering from our Amazon wish list or calling our office. You can participate in our community bagging initiative by organizing your workplace, school, book club, or other group to pack bulk food for the Pollock Food Bank, or just bringing donations to them yourself. The information for all these opportunities is in the weekly happenings email that went out this morning at 10:30, and if you didn't get it, reach out and we will get it to you. Or just Google your local community fridge and pick one day this month to fill it up, to donate one full grocery shop of all the many that we do in our lives. Could you imagine if everyone here tonight filled our closest community fridge just one time? I mean, there's a lot of people in this room. Could you imagine if every single of the 910 families at Temple Beth Am did it? How many people we could help? The difference we could make just from within our community? And by the way, if you yourself or a family member is struggling with food insecurity this month or ever, reach out to us. We will take care of you. We will confidentially get you the support that you need. We are here for you. I'm going to end speaking this evening with a poem distributed by Mazon, a Jewish response to hunger, written by Rabbi Michael Rothbaum. Rabbono Shel Olam, Master of time and space, we come before you in gratitude. Gratitude for the beauty and bounty of a land of grain and seed and fruit, the power of labor in harvesters and homemakers, the diversity of food wisdom that lives in the cultures that make this nation what it is. But at this moment of withdrawn food assistance, we also come before you in grief. Grief for lives at risk, souls endangered, insufficient wages, grief over broken promises. The broken promise of working a full day without a full day's pay. The broken promise of a wage that still requires food assistance for basic sustenance. The broken promise of a nation with not one economy, but two. One economy for the well-connected and another law for the disenfranchised and dejected. We come before you not just in grief, but in fear of what tomorrow may bring. Empty cabinets, growls of hunger, howls of children, undernourishment of families, the indignity and degradation of millions of Americans who've had the bread snatched out of their bellies in the midst of a nation of unmatched plenty. Your light and law require openly open your hand to your needy neighbor, Deuteronomy. Provide a portion of every field for the poor, whether native-born or migrant, Leviticus. Open your mouth for justice and plead for the poor and vulnerable, Proverbs. In this moment of threatened starvation and degradation, give us the courage to fulfill that vision, to face down the pharaohs who exploit the suffering of our neighbors, to persist until every one of your precious souls is fed and housed and clothed. Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, our God and God of our ancestors, God of employers and employees, God of lawgivers and laborers, God of homeowners and home health workers, package handlers and pastors and presidents, God of minimum wage and maximum love and infinite justice. Please, hear our words and help us heal our land, that we may march forward together out of hunger and scarcity and into sustenance and sacred dignity, into a liberated nation, a nation of well-fed children and full hearts, and of holy laws of love and justice. Amen. Shabbat shalom. I'm going to invite us to turn back to our Siddur as we move towards the conclusion of our service. We'll continue on page 282 with the words of Aleinu. I invite you to rise in body or in spirit.
Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon ha'kol, la'tet gedula le'otzer breshit, shehu notesh shamayim v'yoser haaretz, v'moshav yikaro b'shamayim mima'al, u'shchinatu zo b'govhei meromim, hu Eloheinu ein od, va'anachnu korim, u'mishtachavim Lifnei Melech Malchei Hamlachim Hakadosh Baruch Hu. 287. V'nemar Lehaya Adonai Lemelech al kol haaretz Vayom hahu Yeh Adonai echad U'shemo echad.
You may be seated. One thing we always make time to do before we conclude our service is to take some time for sacred memory, to think about our love for those who are no longer physically present, either as of late or as of long ago, but will always remain in our minds and our hearts. Today, Temple Beth Am remembers on their recent loss Sandra Johnson, the mother of Amanda Goss, the mother-in-law of Chip Goss and grandmother of Emerson and Alexis Goss. Ruth Dick, the mother of Debbie Schuster, Irene Dick and Andreezy, Stuart Dick and Liz Kaufman, the grandmother of Jonathan Schuster and Mara Schuster. Zipporah Varon, wife of Maurice Varon, Zichrono Livracha, and mother of Janet Varon and Charles Varon, the mother-in-law of Ed Munoz and Mira Levy, grandmother of Laura Munoz, Becca Varon, Jonah Varon, and Jeremy Varon, grandmother-in-law of Samuel Blau, and Antonia Aquistapes, and great-grandmother of Zevi Varon and Ram Varon. Hester Kuhl, the wife of Samuel Kuhl, Zichrono Livracha, the mother of Richard Kuhl and Enid, of Donald Kuhl and Cheryl Kuhl and Eric, and the grandmother and great-grandmother to many, as well as Gerald Edelstein, the grandfather of Charlotte and Maddie Berkman. And in the period of Shloshim, the first month of passing, we also remember Jonathan Zach, the husband of Bev True and brother of Karen Zach and Dan Zach. On their yard sites, the anniversary of their passing, we remember this evening Becky Ben, James Black, Fanette Blum, Lee Broadwin, Ida Bryan, Meyer Mike Kaplan, John DeBay, Samuel Dickerman, Timmy Fagan, Sybil Fagan, Phyllis Finn, Lucille Fishman, Clark Clayton Foster, Isidore Friedenthal, Tom Gillis, Dorothy Greenbaum, Ruth Kaufman, Judith Cortez, Marie Jean Lambert, Carol Lando, George Lakin, Sarah Levine, Samuel H. Levinson, Sylvia Levy, Jack M. Levy, Ruth Margolis Kaufman, Bernard J. Mietzak, Madeline Murad Buckley, Jean Wills, Nikomadi, Alice Noble, Dorothy Orkin, Morris Sabin, Gary Seitz, Cecilia Sharp, Bilene Shayevitz, Charles Bentley Silverman, Leo Sokol, Abe Spear, Tom Swallow, Richard Webster, my own grandparents, Herman Epstein and Lillian Epstein, as well as any other names that anyone here would like to share aloud, whether it is the yahrzeit anniversary of a passing or you are in a recent period of mourning. Please share their name as my gaze meets yours. And now, if you are observing a yard site, the anniversary of the death of a loved one, or you are in a recent period of mourning, I invite you first to rise. And before the rest of us rise, let us look around to acknowledge the mourning and then to show our kavod, our respect. We all stand with them and we join in the words together of Kaddish Yatom, the Mourner's Kaddish, on page 294. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach hirotei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kari v'imru. Amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mivarach le'olam omei amaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, V'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal, shemei d'kudasha brechu. Le'ela minko birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Alenu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'imru. Amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, to which we say, Amen. Zichronam levracha. May their memories forever be a blessing. You may be seated. It's always important to us at Beth Am that we give kavod to the entire spectrum of human emotion, that we always take that time for grief and mourning and to feel those difficult, painful feelings. But two, we balance those feelings by acknowledging the joys in our lives and allowing ourselves to celebrate and to move forward and to live as the living. And so if you have anything joyous or special that you would like to share with your Jewish community on this Shabbat, any simcha moment, I invite you to raise your hand, and I'm going to come around with the microphone, and you can share into the microphone. Please also introduce yourself. Who would like to go first? All right. You want to get us started? I think there's a good one over here.
No one's saying anything. I'm Phyllis Herzog. I'm representing the grandparents, Gail and Danny Meyerson, Ned Porges, and myself. We're very, very proud of Mira, who's already done a wonderful job and has made us proud.
Oh, she's making all of us proud. Thank you, and mazel tov to all of you. We'll see you very soon. All right, who else has a simcha to share? Yes.
So one of my partners and I celebrated our 10-year anniversary, celebrated it this week.
Mazel tov to you.
Yeah.
Wow, very exciting. Great, that's a special number. Wow, thank you so much. Any special joyous moments on this side of the room? Yes.
I have all four of my parents here with me at Shabbat, my mom and dad and stepmom and stepdad, and I think that's pretty special.
Oh, that is really special. Thanks for sharing that with all of us, and welcome to all of you. Okay. Was that? Oh, yes. Sorry, I missed you. Yes.
It's my grandmother was in love with Halloween, and she died on Halloween, and so it's so special to get to be here at services on the night that she died as a whole family.
Oh, well, we are remembering her and celebrating the holiday that she loved so much together. And I have felt the ruach from this part of the room all evening. So thank you for sharing her spirit with us. Yes, we've got another one over here. Yes.
Hi, I'm Greg. I think a lot of you know me. I'm just celebrating that we hired such a good rabbi this season. That's a simcha for sure.
Mazel tov to all of us.
There's no extra points. This is. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yes. Okay. They're all coming out now. This is great.
Just a quick one, since obviously you're a big fan of Halloween, as I am. So our kids, our son Ethan, his wife Savannah, and our grandson Ari are dressed up, or were dressed up this evening as Guy Fieri, and Ethan was, I never knew about this until just today, trash can nachos. So for anyone who's like, I know, you have to, I guess, know who Guy Fieri is.
It's going
but-
viral. Yeah. Wow, thank you. That's a great one to. All the way. Yes. I'm so sorry. Yes.
Hi, Marla, and I just want to thank Rabbi Jesse for his sermon tonight because the whole disbandment of SNAP has really been on my mind, and I just wanted to say that Mazone actually has a form where you can alert your representatives that you're upset about this, and I know that that might not make a difference, but at least they hear from us and they know that we're paying attention and we're not happy. So I encourage you to do that. And then Joe and I are actually going to be doing something on November 14th for Rainier Valley Food Bank because that's where a lot of need is and a lot of immigrant families are, and we're collecting things. And I'll put a notice about it maybe on the Temple Beth Am Facebook
We'll
page
distribute, yes.
or something. Or if you want more information, contact me.
Thank you, Marla, for that
Thank you,
sacred work. Thank you so much. Thank you. What beautiful, joyous simchas. We're going to take all this energy in and we're going to channel it into our concluding song, our song for peace, Oseh Shalom.
Oseh shalom v'brama, uyaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei teinu, Oseh shalom v'brama, uyaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei teinu, Hey, la 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 la
Thank you so much to Jamie on the sacred technology. Thank you to our facilities team and to everybody who put effort into creating a beautiful moment in time for us together this evening. Let us sanctify the day with our Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzah banu v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron l'maaseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila l'mikra'ei kodesh zecher litziat Mitzrayim ki vanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta im kol hamim ve'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat
L'chaim. And oh, what a beautiful set of chalot over here, homemade by my wife Emily. Tonight for Halloween, we have pumpkin chocolate chip chalot in the shape of pumpkins with a little cinnamon stick pumpkin stem on them. Let us bless the bread, and everyone can come out and have a taste. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'te'ah